Good morning. Welcome to our 5-minute Bible study. Today we're beginning a new Bible study in the book of Genesis. We'll be spending the next bit of time together, a number of days I assume, talking about this wonderful beginning book, Genesis. Now, all of us are quite familiar, I think, with the book of Genesis, the first book of the Bible. Most of the time we've started reading there when we read the Bible. We read straight through from cover to cover, so we've always read a lot in the book of Genesis. We know the stories pretty well. The stories of Adam and Eve and Noah, Tower of Babel, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph. We love the book of Genesis. And it is such an important book for us. It is a book of beginnings and a book of foundations. The very foundation of our faith is laid in the book of Genesis. As we read about how God created, we read about the fall of man, and then how God begins that wonderful plan of redemption, a plan that will begin with Abraham and a family that will become the nation of Israel, a nation through whom God will send his own son to redeem us. It's all there in the book of Genesis. And so as we begin this wonderful book, we're really excited because we're looking at the very foundations of our Christian faith, all laid out for us in the book of Genesis. Now, when you start reading, of course, we see very quickly that it's all about God. Notice verse 1 says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." Everything begins with God. Sometimes when we're talking about our faith, we kind of think it begins with us. It begins with me. But actually, no, it begins with God. God alone is eternal. He has no beginning. He has no end. He is the eternal one. And everything else came from his creative hand. In the beginning, in the origin, in the starting point, God decided to create. And all that is in the heavens and all that is in the earth and all that is comes from God. It's all about God's plan and God's design and God's purpose and God's love for that which he created. A love that was so great that even when we strayed from him, he pursued us to redeem us. It's all about God's purpose for his creation. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now, there's an old theological doctrine that says creation comes out of nothing. And it simply means that aside from God, everything else was brought into being by his word, by his power. All that exists, all that ever can exist, comes from the plan, the purpose, the creative activity of God. It's all about God. So as we look at the book of Genesis, we're going to look at what it reveals to us about his purpose in creation, his purpose for humanity, men and women, in creating them, and his purpose of redemption, how he seeks to pursue us when we run from him, make us his own again, and make us his people. It's all about God's plan for us. So the next sessions together as we get going, we're going to start by looking at creation. You know, of course, that the creation accounts are found for us in Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. And so for the next few days, we'll be looking at the creation story, what God tells us about how he created, what it means, and what it says to us about how we're to live in the midst of God's creation. So that'll be for tomorrow. Hope you join us as we begin to look at how God created all that is and gave it meaning and purpose. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So join us next time as we begin to look in great detail at the creation story in Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. I hope you have a great day today. I'll look forward to seeing you next time as we begin to explore God, the Creator, who made all that is, including us. I'll see you next time. You have a great day, and may God's blessing be yours.